yang merupakan dari tutor time language sendiri, yaitu Mr. Yonvi.
Hai.
Award dari LPDP pada percobaan keempat berangkat ke The University of Queensland pada 2024 Februari akan melanjutkan studi. Pertanyaan pertama saya adalah banyak juga orang-orang yang tidak kembali ke Indonesia. Apakah Anda mengecam mereka?
LPDP mungkin memberikan kesempatan bagi Yonvi untuk sekolah. Yang pertama itu adalah
Well timer, jumpa lagi dalam program Apa Kata Mereka. Apa kata mereka? Apa kata mereka? Apa kata mereka? Dan apa kata mereka?
Saya ingin memberikan yang terbaik untuk orang tua saya.
Jauh-jauh kuliah, terus magang juga.
Pengen membuktikan bahwasanya saya tidak tua.
Gimana nih kalau seandainya guru bahasa Inggrisnya IELTS-nya 4,5?
Jadi berkhianat bangsa.
Cepat kaya datang ke TEM.
Kali ini special guest yang merupakan dari tutor time language sendiri, yaitu Mr. Yonvi.
Hai.
Have you been today?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, thanks for asking. I'm good, can't complain, still alive.
That's nice.
Well, anyway, sudah lama nih nggak jumpa dalam program kata mereka. Kali ini pagi ini kita syuting bersama Mr. Yonvi yang insya Allah akan berangkat ke The University of Queensland pada 2024 Februari akan melanjutkan studi. Nah, Yonvi ini merupakan alumni dari Universitas Negeri Padang ya, Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris, dan sekarang merupakan award dari LPDP pada percobaan keempat. Seperti apa? Kita kenalan dulu nih. Boleh Mr. Yonvi kenalan?
Okay, hi everyone. I'm so pleased to be here finally. It's one of my dreams to be in the video of Apa Kata Mereka, ya kan? Nama saya Yonvi Soni, asli Padang, dan S1-nya di UNP menempuh pendidikan bahasa Inggris. Gitu. Jadi tamat 2020 dan ya mengajar di 3 tempat yang berbeda, akhirnya berlabuh ke Time Language Center. Seperti yang Pak Melki bilang tadi, ini yang keempat kali. Nah, jadi kita akan bongkar nih gimana bisa failure itu diganti menjadi sebuah kesuksesan akhirnya. Sekarang ini.
Luar biasa. Walaupun this is not about how many time you failed, but how that you get up from that fails and then pursue your dream again and run again and get your dream. Dan alhamdulillah pada batch kedua di 2023, Yonvi dinobatkan sebagai awardee LPDP gelombang kedua. Pertanyaan pertama saya adalah negara sudah investasi kurang lebih 1,5 miliar untuk seorang master. Dan seperti kita ketahui, banyak juga orang-orang yang tidak kembali ke Indonesia. Apakah Anda mengecam mereka?
Okay, so that a big question from the beginning. Yeah, I think I would say, all of those people, they have signed, they know what they're doing, but it's a bad thing, of course. Those people have to come back because it's, you have signed for this. If you don't want to come back, find other scholarships that do not require you to come back to Indonesia. But for me, I will, because I think it's my call to kind of like bring changes, membawa perubahan di pendidikan di Indonesia. I would give some background first. So when I was doing my study, I was interested in phonetics and phonology. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how it was going to be useful in the education. So I graduated and I went to the first workplace. Can I say the name?
Yep.
Okay, the name is Elia. And then there I was assigned to design a curriculum for children. And then I found out that almost all countries, they teach phonics, which is basically phonetics and phonology sounds of the English language. So I learned about curriculum there, and then I went to the second workplace, Elia, and I became the division manager. So I learned how to manage people, how to give training, and all of those things fall into place. What I mean is that I gain experience in making curriculum, and then I know how to give training, how important it is that our teachers know how to teach, have good English. So all of these things, kind of like, if I look back, so I didn't choose to be all of those things, but it's just kind of like it happened. So now I believe that the next stage is for Padang, through time later on, and then the next big thing is Indonesia. So I will definitely do what it will take for me to get there.
Ya, nah semua award itu meng-offer ya the very sweet planning.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking that question at
Yeah.
the beginning for you,
Yeah.
because I know you're going to tell about this as well. You're going to design these, and then this for Padang, this for your curriculum Indonesia, and whatever is the bullshit that you tell there.
Yeah.
But that you think that that you will writing on essay is going to be very doable, and then very achievable and very applicable for the future of Indonesia based on your background anyway.
Yes, definitely it's doable, because I'm going to take applied linguistics, which basically it's a study about, TESOL, linguistics, and other things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mediate. I'm gonna be in the middle. I'm gonna bridge different studies on the English language teaching. So, and the outcome is to be able to produce what we call curriculum.
Yeah.
And so that's the first thing. So I will be able to make something that will kind of like accelerate the English language of our students, right? They will be able to speak English. That's very important. So that's the first thing. But in order to do that, we need to have like good teachers, so, as I mentioned before, because now the governments, there's this differentiated learning. So if the teachers are not capable of teaching properly and also have good English, how can they cater to all of the different students? How can they differentiate? So have curriculum, and then support the teachers, and then we'll have the outcome that we want. So that's the three things that I plan that I'll do later on after I graduate.
Yeah, it sounds like very easy to do.
Yeah,
it's
on
very
paper,
it's very easy to do, and that's that you over to LPDP while you interview. Okay, kenapa LPDP melihat ini penting menyekolahkan Mr. Yonvi dengan skenario you try to design curriculum, teacher developments, and how to differentiate student learn English, and why LPDP thought that this is an important thing. We need to send him to the University of Queensland to learn around 2 years, and to get back and apply whatever that you write in your essay.
So there are three reasons, atau tiga alasan atau rationals kenapa LPDP mungkin memberikan kesempatan bagi Yonvi untuk sekolah. Yang pertama itu adalah rasionalnya yang sangat-sangat penting. Itu Indonesia sudah mengajar bahasa Inggris lebih kurang 78 tahun. Dan seperti yang kita tahu, bonus demografi 2045 yang digadang-gadangkan oleh semua orang, ya kan? Itu tinggal 22 tahun lebih kurang. So, jadi kita lihat rasionya udah 78 tahun. Nah, bahasa Inggris segini-gini aja nih, especially daerah tertinggal, ya kan, terutama di Padang, because I'm gonna be here. Kalau kita bicara Jakarta, mungkin anak-anak sudah lebih advance bahasa Inggrisnya, seperti yang kita lihat, ya kan. Nah, Indonesia is a very diverse country, ya kan. How can we make sure that every Indonesian can compete globally in 22 years? So we only have 22 years, so we need a big change, a massive change, right? So the government have started, differentiated stuff, that's very good. And then I'm coming from the view of English language teaching. So what can I bring to the table in 22 years? So first, from my experience, teaching 3-4 years, curriculum is very important. So I'm saying the first thing, in 22 years, we need to create something which is the curriculum that is all-encompassing. What is all-encompassing? So English is one of those things that is, I'm not saying it's great that you can speak English, but through English you can learn something. I'm saying, like, for example, math. So if you talk about math is good. I'm not trying to belittle math. There's logic there, but what I'm saying is that through English you can learn economics, you can learn philosophy, you can learn all of those things using the language. So you have a lot of knowledge, and then it will improve your critical thinking, and it will improve your communication, like what I'm doing now. You can explain stuff to other people. So what I'm trying to do is that in 22 years I want to design something that is not only going to improve the English language, tapi juga bagaimana communications, ya kan, critical thinking, values. Karena tiga hal ini menurut Oxford's policy research, itu tiga hal ini adalah hal yang sangat-sangat hilang dari Indonesian youth. Jadi bagaimana kurikulum yang nanti kita ciptakan bersama, ya kan, terutama kita akan praktekkan di Time dulu dan di Padang, bagaimana pembelajaran itu tidak hanya learn to know the language or learn about the language, but learn something through the language.
Yeah, talk about critical thinking. One of researcher from Lembaga University told that find Indonesian people, especially young generations, is not really okay when the things is complex.
Yes.
And so that everything is to be very easy to do.
Very true.
And how that you will find this thing to address that your dream in 22 years, Indonesian people, especially young generation in bonus demography, will be able to compete internationally as a global citizen.
Yes.
And in the other hand, did you know that Indonesian anak muda Indonesia itu malas berpikir kompleks, ya? Things complex things, and you have to think from different point of view. Dan ini riset membuktikan bahwa anak-anak muda Indonesia, ini saya akan highlight nanti riset dari profesor di Lembaga University. Ini anak Indonesia malas berpikir kompleks, maunya easy, ya, cepat, tap sementara you drag, ya, akan critical thinking, bagaimana problem solving, and then in 22 years, ya. Jadi poin yang dilihat oleh LPDP dari seorang Yunfi adalah dia akan membawakan bagaimana mendesain kurikulum in English, dan juga ini mampu membantu Indonesia di 2045 untuk menjadi negara yang berkembang pesat dengan bonus demografi yang cukup luar biasa banyaknya. Dan pertanyaan saya berikutnya adalah, as an English teacher or English department student, do you think English as imperialism itu perlu di-allow?
I think if we take a look at, if we see that English as a tool to compete globally, I think you're in a huge advantage. But if you're seeing it as like, oh, you're being colonized, why do you have to speak English? But dude, I mean, English is the lingua franca, right? So you don't have to speak like a native speaker. But so the way I see this is that language is just a vehicle for your ideas to go out from your brain.
Yep.
So if you have ideas, but you can't communicate it globally to people, what's the point? So, but
you can use your own language then anyway.
Yes, that's true. But the problems you highlight, critical thinking is missing. What is missing from our youth is that no ideas, no language. So we need to tackle both. We need to learn a language that infuse ideas, that infuse communication, so that they have ideas and then they can kind of like, communicate their ideas.
So in this case, you want to say that you teaching English for Indonesian people is not a part of imperialism?
What I'm saying is that look at this as a tool to bring up yourself, especially because you can compete globally, because whatever you want to do, PhD, masters, if you want to work, you have to go through certain exam.
Or you don't have any power yet to say that I use my own language, such as Japan, Spanish, French. They're proud of using their own language. They don't want to translate to be in English. So at the moment, Indonesia sebagai negara yang flowering country. So you think that you still need to make Indonesian people can speak English very well to use that for communication globally, or as a vehicle?
As a vehicle. Because as Indonesians, you have to be proud of your language, Indonesians, and we've got thousands of your own kind of like, you know, languages. I'm from Padang, I can speak Padangese, I can speak Indonesians, but what I'm trying to say is that there is another level here, which is we have to understand that we are a global citizen. If you can't speak the global language, so I mean, if you come from Papua and you can't speak Indonesia, you come to Padang, you speak I mean, I can't understand you. We have like a language that break the barriers of culture, stuff like that, so that we can understand each other. So I'm seeing it as from that perspective.
Okay,
so that's what I'm proposing.
So not an imperialism.
No, but some people are still thinking, why English? Why is this? But it's understandable, right? It's understandable. But you know, you have seen it. I mean, most of those people, they haven't had exposure to the global kind of like arena, right? So if we ask them to come now and then they can't speak English, but what are you gonna say? Do you need a translator? You need an interpreter? It will take more time.
So
right?
that English as lingua franca, 40% people in this planet using English. So it's mean, do you think as an English teacher, and will people learn about TESOL, teaching English for other foreign language, that pushing flowering countries such as Indonesia to speak English very well, to go abroad to learn something, and this is not part of imperialism?
No, because that's
okay.
part of,
I just say no. That's fine. You don't need to explain it. Okay. So
it's difficult to just kind of like say yes or no, because there are a lot of things that go within that answer. But no.
Okay. No. Yeah. Now, you know, sometimes the requirement to go abroad for study, such as like IELTS, that you need certain qualifications that you have to no less than 6 or 7.5. As a teacher, do you reckon that is because they push you to meet that requirement to understand about language, to learn something, or just to earn money? Because $200,000 US per semester. So that's the thing that I want to try to discuss with a lot of English teacher. Even Time Language Center is also selling the product of English. It didn't mean I try to my address question through LPDP actually, based on you or others worthy. Do you think that you need to create something like English proficiency test? Actually, you don't need to use them product.
Okay.
The price is so expensive anyway. So that's very true, because if we look at people who've been trying to take the IELTS a couple of times. 5 times.
They've spent millions of money. And it's very sad that why do they have to go through that, right? Why can't they just go to the country and learn? That's also a lot of politics on that as well, in that is involved. But so I'm just gonna highlight from the perspective of education.
Okay.
So if we really truly learn and then provide like materials or teaching that allow students to acquire the language, so after high school or after S1 undergraduate, they will be able to meet that requirements. So the problem is now why we're seeing people who are missing the target. Let's say they want to achieve Band 7. They learn the English language just like a couple of months before the exam. So
okay, so you would have fixed that one
so
on your curriculum?
So what I'm trying to say
just
is
to
that
meet the requirement that IELTS or whatever it is, the proficiency test requiring from university as well. So what you're doing is how to design or create the
that
people.
will boost the English proficiency.
I mean, you help them to put more imperialism anyway.
So if we take a look at from the lens of like why English, so I think if whatever the lingua franca is, let's say it's Arabic, let's imagine where the lingua franca is Arabic, you would do the same thing. You would have to learn the Arabic, right? You would have to speak the language, you would have to go through the similar test, whatever it is called.
Yeah.
But this case is the English language. Yeah. So yeah.
It's capital.
Yeah, that's very. it's very expensive. Yeah. So for those people who've been trying to take the IELTS and you haven't got it, yeah, it's a huge. I think you've spent a lot of money, but just believe that you can do it and the next time. But make sure that the preparation is on point.
Okay.
And so that's the first thing. It's sort of like, yeah, why 7? But if we look at through, they want to go to university, right? They want to learn something that is abstract or whatever. If you want to be a doctor, and then if you want to be a lawyer, there is a certain level of the language that you need to be able to produce in order to understand the lectures, in order to understand the written text. So, and yeah, with that said, we understand that why 7, right? But from another perspective, yeah, why do people have to be charged like that amount of money?
Yes.
It's a big question. So that's why I'm not gonna say that we have to change it, but from my capability at the moment,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do is let's create something like an English materials learning or lessons that will boost your English proficiency to that level, so you don't have to spend millions of money to study for the IELTS, like 10 millions, 15 millions.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Ya, so Yonvi sebagai guru bahasa Inggris
Betul.
pengen membuat sebuah curriculum
Yeah.
if easy for students to
Yes.
learn English and then certifies as well. Don't take many time for English proficiency test. Well, 75 years is already Indonesian people learn English ya.
Yes.
Dan kita punya waktu 22 tahun untuk mampu mencapai 2045 dengan kemampuan anak-anak muda Indonesia yang mampu berbahasa Inggris dengan baik. Nah, pertanyaannya, you will learn in UQ nanti public policy education, things like that.
Yeah.
Hal apa yang sudah terpikir bagi seorang Yonvi to create a policy that you can over to probably Padang governments or Sumatera Barat or even Indonesia?